So, welcome everybody. I'm delighted on behalf of Shruti Foundation to invite you to an absolutely unprecedented talk by Pragati Oswal. She's a very, very well known wellness trainer, has many, many decades of experience in all kinds of therapies: yoga, magnet therapy, acupressure, acupuncture. She has so much experience in understanding the human body from within, all its planes and parts, and how one can access one's planes and parts oneself. She trains you how to access all these planes and parts yourself and become your own curer and healer. So we are really delighted at Shruti Foundation to invite her to share her knowledge free with all of us today. And of course, it will be available on Facebook and YouTube even after this for all your friends to view. So, Pragati, welcome to the show. Welcome and thank you for giving us this wonderful free talk today on accessing the remote healing system of the human body. Uh, I'm sure you will absolutely enthrall our viewers with your great practical knowledge. And of course, this is a precedent to the 7-day workshop by you, which we are starting on the 30th. So from 30th September to 6th October, we are having this amazing practical experiential workshop with Pragati. And today you will get only a glimpse into and of course other things that we will talk about, but you'll get a glimpse into what she has to offer in 7 days to come, right from the end of September to 6th October. So with that, I won't take more of your time except to tell you that I have personally experienced Pragati's healing expertise and her power to teach and to heal people. And we are just so grateful to her that she's here with us today to share her great knowledge and expertise with you. So now over to you, Pragati, and we're really looking forward to hearing you. And here you go. So I'm going to go off the screen, and the screen is all yours.
Thank you so much, Shruti. I am delighted to be here, and that was so sweet of you to have shared your personal experiences with the healing and my knowledge. Anyway, so hello everybody. Welcome. I am happy to be here, like I said. And before I start this session, I would like to say a prayer because this is how I start all my sessions. So it's a prayer about exchange of knowledge between two entities. The speaker or the teacher or the one who is perceived as the source of knowledge, and others, the shrotas, the listeners, the students, or the ones who are there to receive the knowledge. So knowledge doesn't belong to either. Knowledge happens as communication happens. So in that spirit, I would like to start. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So let us, you all and I, engage in this exchange of knowledge. May it come out of me with your presence, and may it throw some light on the subject matter. And let there be peace. When I say peace, I mean, of course, the peace within, where we check in with ourselves. But at this point in time, peace with the technology around. So with that, on that note, I'll begin. I'm here to talk about remote systems of healing. And I would like to go a little bit into how and when some of these remote systems were developed and by whom they were developed. In fact, perceived, not even developed. So Thousands of years ago, think about a time when we did not have technology. We did not have any technology, let alone access to understand the body. Now we have ultrasound, we have X-ray, we have fancy laboratories. You can dissect and see inside the body. But at that time, there was no technology to really look inside the body. Unless, of course, somebody dead and that body wasn't claimed by anybody. Or if one, cut open a carcass of an animal to study the anatomy, physiology. So the the people, or the seekers, let's call them seekers, the seekers of this knowledge of life, of what creates life, of what maintains life, and how life ends. So the ones who were seeking knowledge about body, about health, about life, about longevity, truth about life and existence, did not have access to all this technology that I just spoke about. So what they did was they wondered. And that's all that they could do. They could wonder, you know. Of course, they could feel through their personal experience and through what they could see just maybe with their eyes, they could observe things around. But what was inside them, what was happening inside them, was something that they were just wondering about, contemplating on, and trying to understand the truths about existence through that sense of wonder. So they contemplated. They, if I may use the word, they meditated on the subject. And what they discovered was much beyond the physical body that we are used to seeing. We are used to associating ourselves with this body that we have, with what we look like. And of course, that's how we identify ourselves at first. And then they started to meditate upon the body processes, the materials with which the body is made. What is it that keeps the body alive? The breath, the mind, then something beyond the mind, an intelligence which is deep inside within us, something that we are not even aware of, how our body functions by itself. Things that we can see, we can control, we are aware of, yes, that is direct. This is indirect, an intelligence which is much beyond. And of course, the consciousness, the ultimate source, why you exist. So they reached all these metaphysical layers of existence by contemplation. And these people, were not called doctors. They were actually called seers, the ones who had the ability to see, to perceive beyond what was apparent or what was just visible. Or they were called yogis, because they had the capacity to go beyond the mind that we all understand in a very limited way. So they had the ability to go beyond the perceptible mind. And the ones who were more specialized little later, in time, who were more concerned or more focused on health and well-being were called Vedyas. So Vedya is, the meaning of Vedya is the knower or the one who has the knowledge of healing, of well-being. And as I talk about healing and well-being, I would like to tell you that there's a difference between treatment and healing. So treatment happens when symptoms of a particular problem are alleviated, are managed, are treated. So when you have some sense of relief, that's called treatment. You definitely feel better. But when a broken piece is made whole again, healing happens. So healing is when you make whole. Now, what do you make whole? Something which is broken. What are these broken pieces? What is this broken piece that we need to connect to heal ourselves, to make ourselves whole again? This broken piece that I'm talking about, and I'm going to pun on this word, is actually the peace of one's mind. So, when the mind is peaceful, your mind is a great healer. But when the mind is disturbed for a long time, or when you're upset, when the mind is not functioning well, when it is really, really disturbed, when it is not at peace, it becomes a slow killer. So the mind has the capacity to heal, to become a healer, or to kill and become a killer. The state of mind can percolate into the state of body. That's the point I'm trying to make. And while not all diseases originate from the mind, there's a separate category where disease or accident or injury, the source lies outside of yourself, outside of the scope of your mind. It's like, for example, COVID right now, that's contagious, or if you have a break in the bone, a fracture, or if you need surgery. So these injuries or these diseases, these problems that come to you from an external source, have an external solution, then require external management. Although your body still has the capacity at that point in time to optimize and maximize the healing, but you still require external intervention. So this is one category of disease, but 90% of the diseases originate and then they are sustained and made worse by the state of mind. And this is now a well researched fact. Most of the problems, the researchers are tracing the roots of the problems to the mind, and how, when you become better, you also come to a point where your mind is less stressed. Or if you learn to train your mind to become less stressed, you tend to become better much faster. So, how the mind works is by producing lots of thoughts. And what are these thoughts? I'm talking about a disturbed mind. I'm not talking about a calm mind right now. Let me clarify that. So, it produces a lot of thoughts, and probably untowardly negative thoughts. Thoughts are a form of energy, if I may say, potential energy, because thoughts have their basis in your experiences, your interactions, your conditioning, things you've seen around. So thoughts definitely have a basis. It could be your imagination as well, but thoughts have a basis in reality. But at that point in time, when your mind is producing so many thoughts, there's no reality to it. There is only the energy of the thought, the potential energy of the thought. So it is energy which is being generated, which is being created when you're thinking too much. And when you're thinking too much and thinking about it over and over again, in fact, you would be very familiar with this phrase. We say this to each other all the time, that you're thinking too much. You're uncomfortable because you're thinking too much. And many times you would have also noticed it, and I hope most of you would agree with me when I say this, that you can literally feel pressure around your temples, your head, or maybe some sort of nagging pain in some portion of your body when you're thinking too much. That's because these thoughts contain potential energy, and energy converts itself into mass. So Einstein proved it, many years ago through his theory of relativity, that energy and mass are interconvertible. So energy converts itself into mass. So too many thoughts, too much of potential energy gathers ample potential and then converts itself into a physiological phenomena, pain or tension or cramp, could turn into some sort of you could say some sort of a lump somewhere, in the body. So energy converts itself into mass. I can actually give you another example, and this is one of my favorite examples of all time. So when we eat food, like let's talk about this the other way. Energy converts itself into mass, and mass converts itself into energy. So when you eat a lot of food, food is mass, right? So when you eat, energy is produced. Okay, and energy is required for functioning of the body, for your body systems and body processes. But what happens when you eat too much food? When you have a lot of mass, energy is created, and then energy again converts itself into mass. So you become bigger in size. So energy converts itself into mass. And when you work out, what happens to that mass when you work out regularly, consistently? That mass vanishes. You become smaller in size. What happens to that mass? That mass also gets converted into energy. So we'll come back to the disease part of it, that how thoughts, the potential energy, convert themselves into physically palpable pain, or pain symptoms, or a feeling of ill being, not well being. Now, energy has, this energy that I'm talking about communicates itself to the body through many sources, and one of the main source is through the breath. So you would have seen that whenever you are unsettled, whenever you are disturbed, your breathing becomes haphazard. You could be breathing too fast. You could be, just stopping your breath, something of the sort. And when your breathing is not rhythmic, when your breathing is haphazard, more carbon dioxide is retained in the blood, and that makes the blood acidic. So it makes the body vulnerable. Now, you can definitely control or regulate your breath, but most people, ask me, and I'm wondering if some of you have this question in your head: how do you control the mind? Because it is not easy to control the mind, and the nature of mind is such that it is not supposed to be. It cannot be controlled. It is chanchal. It is that which keeps moving. So yes, it is hard to control your mind, but let's do this. In fact, let's do this now. Everybody, hold your breath right away. Immediately, right now, hold your breath. Breathe. So, while you were holding your breath, what were you thinking? You're probably thinking about when you're going to breathe again. Apart from that, what? Probably nothing. Am I right? Okay, I'm going to assume that I'm right. So, no breath, no thought. A dead man does not breathe. A dead man does not have a thought. So, when through some of these breathing practices, when you're trying to regulate your breath, you can breathe in, breathe out for a while, for a little while. You have to find a moment of pause. In yoga, we call it kumbhak, a pause that happens automatically, keval kumbhaka, a pause that is very natural. It is that pause in which the body starts to find its equilibrium. It starts to cut off that constant relaying of thought through the breath to the body, that those messages, it just cuts that off. It stills itself for just those few moments and calibrates, measures, gauges what is good for itself. So this was one thing that you must try, breathe in and breathe out for a while. And of course, like when you're more stressed, your breathing would be faster. But take a full breath in and breathe out completely. Do this for a little while, and maybe after 10 or 20 breaths, just stop. And when you stop and go into that pause, see how relieved you feel. And repeat it a few times. And if you do feel better, well, I cannot ask you to do it right away because I'm going to still be talking now. So, but do it, and maybe at a later point in time, you can comment in this live talk, or on this platform, if at all that helps you. So coming back to the energy. So uh, energy gets conveyed to the body, percolates to the body from the mind through the channel of breath. Now, this is something we can feel very easily, very conveniently. Apart from that, there are other channels, there are other meridians, other set of pathways of energy within our body that make this energy flow, that store this energy, and these are also the areas where energy can collect and become stagnant, can start creating disease from those points. So these channels are deep inside, like they are you cannot physically dissect the body and find these energy channels because they're not physical in nature, they're metaphysical in nature. So these seers that I'm talking about, yogis that I'm talking about, the perceivers of these remote methods, perceivers of these remote methods of healing, perceived these channels, these energy channels. In our philosophy of yoga, or even in many modalities of energy healing like Reiki, pranic healing, these pathways are called chakras. So there are points in the body which vibrate according to the energy which is being fed into the body. They are connected, to the entire cosmos, to the energy of the entire cosmos, and to the energy that you are, by the way of your thought process, by the way of your experiences, by the way of your memory, and by the way of your individual personality, are feeding to them. So, so in Indian philosophy, we had this concept of chakras. Also, concept of 72,000 nadis. Nadis are again these energy pathways that you can't see, through which this energy travels and where it collects. So in Ayurveda you have marma points. These marma points are nothing. These are points which collect the energy which is being relayed in the body. And in the Chinese system, again developed by meditators, traditional Chinese system of acupuncture, which is very, very potent, very, very therapeutic, and very, very beneficial for pain management. They plotted 14 channels, 14 meridians, that are there in the body, through which this energy travels and through which you can influence the physical body. So this whole thing, it might sound complicated, but we did find a person, who actually expired just about a decade ago, Dr. Park Jae-woo, who actually made this whole thing, which looks really big, this concept of energy and meridians and channels, made it really, really tiny. Just like everything is becoming smaller now, from the computer to the phone to the SIM card, everything's becoming like smaller. So he made this whole system really concise. And of course, he meditated, he thought about it. And what he did was he looked at his hand one day, you know, and he wondered why his hand looked the way it did. I want to ask you, have any of you wondered why your hand looks the way it does? Why is it, that you have a palm like this? and then you have a thumb, and then you have four fingers, and then the fingers have three joints, while your thumb has just two joints. Why is it that your hand looks the way it does? So this person wondered, and he found a likeness between your entire body and your hand, hand and feet. His name is Dr. Park Jae-woo, founder of Sujok Acupressure. Su means hands and jok means feet. So he found the entire body in your hand, and I'll explain how. So, look at think about your torso. You have 5 projections coming out of your torso. You have your head, you have these arms, you have, 2 legs, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And your arms have 3 joints, the shoulder, the elbow, and the wrist. So your finger has 1 to 3 joints. Similarly, your legs have 3 joints, the hip, the knee, and the ankle. And these fingers, all the fingers, the 4 limbs that I'm talking about, have 3 joints each. Okay? Now, if you look at your hand, these 2 fingers, the middle finger and the ring finger, they are longer than your index finger and your little finger. They're longer, just like your legs are longer than your arms. And if you look at it this way and, imagine yourself tilted to the side, you would understand how the side to which you're tilted, that arm will become longer and the one which is sort of on the opposite side will become shorter. And coming to your thumb. So your head and your neck, these are 2 joints. Like there's one here from where your head moves and the other one from where your neck moves. So you have 2 joints here. So, and this is your torso right there. So you have an entire system plotted right here in your hand. So I'll try to put on a picture for you to see, to make it a little more clear how you can find your entire body in your hand. So can we have the picture? I think that should be clear. So, if you can see, there's a thumb, this portion right here, your face, your neck, and then here there's the lifeline, this one portion like the diaphragm. So your lungs are here. Then these are your arms, your index finger and your little finger. And the middle finger and the ring finger are your legs. And here in the middle, you have your organs, abdominal organs. Similarly, on the back side, you have an entire spine there. If you can see, towards the right side of the picture. So you have a spine, your cervical spine, part of your thoracic spine, and just like, your lumbar spine comes and ends here with the tailbone. So a likeness is this, I think this should be clear. Right there. And like I just said this, so if this is your, so I'm just going to demonstrate this at the same time and make it a little dark so that you can see it clearly. So if this portion, if this is your spine and you happen to suffer from a pain in your lower back, you can actually just apply pressure here. In the middle, there are these 2 bones, you'll have your knuckles, you have these 2 bones, and right here in the middle, this is your lower back, your lower spine. So if you have a pain, you can actually apply pressure, even with the backside of a pen. I prefer to use an acupressure tool, But even with the back side of a pen, you can apply pressure here and move forward, backward, in and around. It's better to keep the hand stable on something, have a leverage so that the pressure is not wasted. And apply some pressure here. And then if that pain radiates to the leg, then maybe a little bit on the side. So just forward, backward, round and round. And you'd be surprised how quickly that pain would go away, or at least be alleviated to a good degree, to some extent, to quite an extent, appreciable extent, I should say. Similarly, if you have a pain in the neck, here's your face, here's your neck, and then the back side, that's your neck. You can probably just apply some pressure there. Just around this whole area. Maybe you can just use your own hand to do that. So you have your entire body, in your hands. And I'll put another picture for you so that you can, also see how the body is placed on the feet as well. Similar picture where you can see the hand and the feet simultaneously. Just give me a moment there. And so this picture is not coming on. There it is. So there you go. Whole body in your hands, in your feet. Literally health in your hands, if I could say. So what you can do for yourself is, when you hold your hands together, just feel the potential, the body systems right there for you. And to access them, just tap them a bit, apply a little pressure and see if you can access them. In fact, in our culture, even we grew up like that. So we had literally, like one can call it a tradition of not rubbing, but pressing the feet of your grandparents or parents when they went to bed. So what you did was you actually, for some time, pressed their feet. And when you did that for a while, it made them feel better. I'm sure like a lot of you would have experienced it whenever you go for a foot massage or a pedicure or even a manicure, you come back feeling really, really good. You feel, lighter, better, your muscles are more relaxed. So there was a tradition where the younger people in the family would go and press the feet of the elders, especially at bedtime. And this itself was a great healer. Not only did it stimulate all these points, so you can imagine, if you can stimulate some of these points on the hands and the feet, it'll make the muscles more relaxed. It'll put the body in a state of ease. It'll make you feel so much better. So the elders, when their feet were being pressed, not only did they feel better, they could sleep better, they felt cared for. They felt a sense of wellness, well-being. And the way you feel actually determines whether or not you will heal. So that's pretty much what I have to say at this point in time. Feel better, heal better, be well, and take care. And I'm just trying to look at some of these comments which are coming up on the side. I'd be happy to take any questions or any comments from people at this point in time. Just give me a moment. I'm not very, very good with this. Wow. So nice. So sweet. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your comments. And Viva, I'll end the session with a prayer then. A prayer again for well-being of absolutely, absolutely everybody. So, Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, Sarve santu niramayah, Sarve bhadrani pashyantu, Ma kaschit dukha bhag bhave. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May all, absolutely everybody, be happy and healthy. May good things happen to everybody. Happy people will make a peaceful nation. And when there is peace, there would be healing. So with this, I would like to uh, wrap up my session. Uh, Mom's asking me to press feet. Very good. So, so, so not only would you get blessings from the mother, your mother would heal. And if the mother can heal, I think that's the best gift you can give to your mom. Shrutiji, yeah, you're back. I
That
see
was
you. I hope
so
you enjoyed this
wonderful, so
session.
wonderful, Pragati. I'm absolutely delighted with the little window of insights that you gave to us today. Just a promise of what we can expect in the 1 week that we have with you ahead, from the 30th of September to the 6th of October. You gave out just a little glimpse as to what you're going to teach, and all the unknown secrets that you're going to share with us. I'm really delighted. So tell me, since you haven't answered any questions, I'm going to take up a quick question with you today, and I hope you can oblige us with an answer. So,
Absolutely.
I want to know from you, how long is it since you have been practicing all these indigenous methods? I hate calling them alternative because they're really age old. They're not alternative, they're indigenous, local wisdom, our traditional wisdom, which not only from India but also from other, nations and other cultures. So, how long has it been since you have been practicing these, and since you have given up, Western medication for your own body? How long is it since you've been healing yourself and others with this practice?
So it's been 21 years exactly.
21 years. You don't look that old yourself.
So, so my father happens to be a cardiologist, and my entry into this field happened because of his problems. He had developed a condition in his back which wasn't responding very well to conventional treatment. You can understand, being a doctor, he has friends who are in the same who belong to the same fraternity. So he was getting the best treatment possible from the conventional medicine side. And each time, he would have an episode of back pain, a slipped disc, anything of the sort. He would literally be, one can say, like, he would be on bed for days or even weeks together. And it would be hard for him to move. So it was very hard to see him in that sort of pain, because otherwise he had been so active in his life. And after having tried these the conventional therapies, physiotherapy, then having visited the orthopedics, taking opinion from absolutely everybody, even about nutrition and diet and what he could do. So after many years of that, during one of his very severe episodes, one of our family friends suggested that he try Reiki. So because he was in so much pain, he said, it's okay, just do whatever. Before that, to him, it was all mumbo jumbo, because you are trained to think in a certain way, especially, if you're learning conventional medicine. So, so he said that, okay, just do anything. All I want is I want to feel better. And my Reiki guru spoke to him over the phone. He had never seen him in person, spoke to him over the phone and said that, I'm going to connect with you. I'm going to send some energy. These are the words he used. I'm going to send some energy. Just be receptive and give me a call in about half an hour if you feel better. And in that half an hour time, my father still describes that as some sort of electric charges that he felt in his back for a little time, just for maybe few minutes. But what happened in those 20, 30 minutes was that he felt much better. And when I say much better, I say maybe 25, 30%, but enough to be able to go to the toilet on his own. So what he did was he actually went and relieved himself. People don't realize how these things matter so much when you're in so much pain, when you cannot do these daily activities by yourself. So he felt better enough to actually go. So he went and he relieved himself and called him back and said, "I'm much better." And I got really intrigued by this. That how is it that somebody who's never met my father, never seen him, has done this something to me? In fact, even I would have rubbished it, because again, trained to think in a certain way. But I got really curious and I wanted to learn what my guru did. So that was my entry point into this. And just like that opened our mind, the other avenues opened. So whatever my father opened up to other methods, he started to try because he started to respond so much better to them. And I started to learn. So that was my entry point into this whole, I would say, uh, wisdom of the meditators because they all are connected.
Indeed. In fact, sometimes when we look at our lives and difficult times in our lives, or in the lives of people who are close to us, we realize that pain comes for a great revelation. In fact, I can share that the same thing happened in my life. I had a surgery, and it was just after the surgery that I realized the great power of sound on the human body, which
Wow.
now I teach the entire world. But, so in this case, it was your father who took all that pain just so that you could come to a great realization. So we are so grateful to your father for having, or to the divine for having brought this great knowledge to you and made you such a great healer who has helped so many people. I know that you have helped so many people in hospitals, in special homes, with old age. You have done so much to relieve the pain and the suffering of people in so many different walks of life. And we're really looking forward to having you relieve not only the physical pain but the psychological pain and the emotional pain that people are going through, particularly in this very challenging space time in the universe, you know. And I think it's a great moment of transformation for the universe, where we are so grateful to be there to share whatever the universe has given us. However we have been blessed by the universe through our own circumstances, whatever we have managed to learn, it's we are grateful to the universe, and I am personally grateful to you, and the foundation is grateful to you, Shruti Foundation, that you are sharing your knowledge and bringing it to the world. And I strongly recommend that we all do Pragati's course from the 30th to the 30th September to 6th October. Really looking forward. In fact, we have some amazing courses after Pragati's ends on the 6th. We have another wonderful course on the sacred science of Sri Vidya, which is from 10th to 16th October. Let's get Pragati back on screen, please. Just get her back on screen. Yes, we haven't said bye bye to her yet. So, so,
I
so
want to answer a couple of questions before I go. I see them popping up.
Oh, you're
So,
seeing them. Okay, okay. So let's take the questions. I will, after we finish with Pragati, I will invite Avantika to share details on all the workshops. And Pragati, over to you. Please take up your questions now.
So, what do I recommend one should do to get a nice, peaceful sleep? Rub your feet, massage your feet, press your feet, howsoever you know to do that. Just spend some time. Take 15-20 minutes time. We spend 15-20 minutes time on the phone, before we sleep. So invest that time into rubbing your feet, massaging your feet, pressing your feet, and there's a high probability that you'll sleep much better because it will release muscle relaxants in the body. And when your muscles are relaxed, you sleep better. I'm sure you would have experienced that with conventional medicine, of course. Like if you take a muscle relaxant, you sleep better. And someone has asked what to do for pain in the legs. So again, I would say, press the feet, the calves especially, unless and until. So I do not know the details of what this leg pain is. If it is sciatica, if it's that sort of pain, then the points I showed right there, because it comes from there down, it travels to the leg. Then these points right there would really help, and you could also maybe rub your hands against each other, put a little oil, and with some pressure, cover, because these are your legs. These are the correspondences for the legs. So rub them a little hard. You can get the same thing done to your feet if your feet are not, hurting along with the leg. So that's what I would recommend. And I think I'm done. I think those were the questions, right? So over to you. So thank you, everybody.
Thank
Be
you,
well.
Pragati. Thank you very much. Looking forward to being with you from the 30th again. Thank you very much. Over to you, Avantika, now. Thank you.
Namaste everyone. We have some very amazing and experiential workshops coming up from Vedaranya. So the first one is tapping into the remote healing system of our body, which Pragati had very wonderfully explained about just now. And then the second one is the Sacred Science of Sri Vidya, which is by Saundarya Ambika, our dear Dr. Shruti, which is from 10th of October to 16th October. It's a full 7-day course. And then after that, we come to the Mandukya Upanishad and the Secret of Om, which focuses on the secrets of the very experiential Bij Mantra Om. And yes, so these are the details of the courses on your screen. And I would love to take up any queries or any questions or any kind of information that you would want after this on my email, which is shown right on your screen, vedaranya@gmail.com. You can also contact me at 80763127993. Or the number is also on your screen. It would be great if you could note that down and reach out to me for any kind of assistance that you might want for the upcoming workshops. And with this, I sign off and thank you so much for being there and for attending our sessions. And I look forward to having you all up in our upcoming workshops and connecting with you more. Thank you.